Hey everyone, today we're checking out the AmScope ME1200TC 1250X Inverted Trinocular Metallurgical Microscope. If you're into metalworking, electronics, or even some types of biology, you might be wondering if this microscope is actually worth the investment. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. To start, let's talk about the design of this microscope. The inverted design is a game-changer for anyone who's tried to look at large or oddly shaped samples under a regular microscope. Instead of struggling to fit a big piece of metal or a circuit board under the lens, the stage sits above the objectives, so you can easily place and view larger specimens without any hassle. I've used this for inspecting solder joints on PCBs, and it's so much more convenient than flipping a board upside down or trying to balance it precariously. You can just place the board on the stage and get to work, which saves a lot of time and reduces the risk of damaging the sample. The magnification range is solid, from 50x all the way up to 1250x. That's 8 different settings, so you can zoom in close for detailed inspections or pull back for a wider view. The Plan optical system really delivers on sharp, clear images across the entire field of view, which is something I noticed right away. No weird distortions at the edges, just consistent clarity whether I'm looking at a tiny component or a larger surface. This is especially important if you're working with small parts or trying to identify specific features on a sample. One of the standout features for me is the trinocular head. It's got a dedicated photo/video port, so if you're into documenting your work or need to capture images for reports, this makes it super easy. I've connected it to my DSLR a few times, and the results were crisp and detailed. It's a nice bonus if you're into sharing your findings or just keeping records. The fact that you can easily capture high-quality images without having to remove the sample from the microscope is a huge time saver. Plus, it's great for collaborating with others or creating instructional materials. The mechanical stage is low-positioned, which is great for ergonomics. You don't have to crane your neck or hunch over to use it, and the stain-resistant finish is a thoughtful touch. I work with oils and other substances sometimes, so not having to worry about permanent marks is a relief. Plus, the controls are smooth and precise, so adjusting the position of your sample feels natural and responsive. This is one of those features that you might not think about at first, but it makes a big difference in the long run. When you're working with a microscope for extended periods, comfort and ease of use are essential. Another thing worth mentioning is the build quality. This isn't one of those flimsy microscopes that wobbles every time you touch it. The frame feels sturdy, and the components are well put together. It's designed to last, which is important if you're using it regularly for work or serious hobbies. You don't want to have to worry about your microscope breaking down or requiring frequent repairs, especially if you rely on it for critical tasks. Now, let's talk about a couple of things to keep in mind. The learning curve can be a bit steep if you're new to metallurgical microscopes. The inverted design takes some getting used to, especially if you're coming from a traditional upright microscope. It's not a deal breaker, but it might take a little practice to feel comfortable moving samples around. You'll need to get used to looking at your sample from a different perspective, and it may take some time to adjust to the inverted image. However, once you get the hang of it, you'll appreciate the flexibility and convenience that this design offers. Also, while the magnification goes up to 1250x, the higher settings are really for detailed inspections rather than broad overviews. If you need to see fine details like grain structures in metals or tiny components, you'll get great results. But if you're looking for something to give you a wide, low magnification view of larger areas, you might want to look elsewhere. This microscope is really designed for high magnification work, so if you need to inspect large samples at low magnification, you might want to consider a different option. In terms of maintenance and upkeep, the AmScope ME1200TC is relatively easy to care for. The stage and other components are designed to be durable and resistant to corrosion, which reduces the need for frequent cleaning and maintenance. This is a big plus if you're planning to use the microscope in a busy workshop or lab setting, where downtime can be costly. Overall, the AmScope ME1200TC is a solid choice if you need a reliable, high-quality inverted microscope. It's great for metalwork, electronics, and even some biological applications. The trinocular port is a nice feature for capturing images, and the build quality is impressive. Whether you're a professional or a serious hobbyist, this microscope has a lot to offer. If this sounds like the right tool for you, check out the link below to see the latest price and details. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.